Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is the Hunter's Quest podcast. This is your host, Hunter McWaters. It's good to be back with you guys again today. Today, I have an episode with a guy I've been following for a really long time. He was in the podcast game like before podcasts were cool. I mean, I literally remember looking at this guy's Instagram page, years ago, and not even knowing what a podcast was. And so he's been in the game a long time. His name is Cable Smith. He has a podcast and a radio show called the Lonestar Outdoor show. If you've been in the social media hunting space or into podcasts for a long time, you've probably run across his page. Very prolific guy, has a bunch of podcasts out, and has a really big social media following. So anyway, he's a really cool guy. It was really interesting talking to him because, like I said, I've been following him for so long. It's like I feel like I know the guy, but never actually spoken with him. We'd interacted over social media, going back years, but never actually spoke with the guy. So figured it was time to get him on the show. So if you're a fan of the Lonestar Outdoor show, I think you'll really like this episode. And either way, he's just a really cool, interesting guy. We talk more about actually hunting in Africa, which is something I talked to my guest last week about, which is interesting. But we also go into other stuff. He's really big into, he's outspoken as far as politics go and that kind of stuff, and he's had a lot of really big issues as far as censorship on social media. And since he has a big following and he posts a lot of hunting and outdoor stuff and political stuff, Instagram is really like trying to shut this guy down. And it's just sad. And again, it's terrible to see how these big tech companies can just make their own rules and just shut people down. So if you haven't heard of him, I do suggest you go out and check him out. Again, it's Lonestar Outdoor show. You can find him on Instagram, Facebook, and podcasts. And anyway, he's a great guy. He's from Texas. He's an avid hunter. He hunts all across the world and been in it a long time. So it's really good to catch up with Cable. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. I am swamped, so I'm not going to do a whole bunch of intro here. Other than that, I do want to say one thing, which is exciting, just a little update. I mentioned a while back I might have one more hunt this season. I just confirmed some details with some industry guys. I'm going to be heading out to Arizona to hunt mule deer and coos deer for archery and do some filming out there with some guys that you've probably heard of. I'm not going to say who yet, but anyway, I'm really excited about linking up with those guys. So be on the lookout for more content related to that. It's something I'm really excited about. And it's just, looking forward to updating you guys on all the stuff I got coming this year. It's going to be an amazing year for the Hunter's Quest. So I really appreciate all you guys that have been supporting me since the beginning. Please continue to get the word out there. Go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you can. Just search my name, Hunter McWaters. Please continue leaving me ratings and reviews and just supporting me on social media by liking and commenting and sharing. And as always, please share this episode with friends and family. It really helps me get the word out. And again, I just want to say thank you guys for all your support, and stay tuned because this next year and even in this off season got some really exciting projects that I'm working on. So thanks again, guys. Stay tuned, and we'll see you on the next one. Dude, I like the little Three Musketeers thing you got going.
Oh, thanks. I'm always up for a good facial hair bit. So my wife was
man.
like, "Hey, you need to shave that beard. It tickles when I kiss you." I was like, "Okay, I'll shave the beard." Now you're left with like a little General Custer situation. So.
Yeah, man. So yeah, did I see on Instagram it's the day your anniversary?
Yeah, today is 13 years.
Wow.
The best 13 years of my wife's life, for sure.
Congrats, man.
Thank you. No, I'm the lucky one. She lets me get to call hunting a job. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. So did you, so just go like, man, like I think I said this the other day on like a post you made or something, but you've been doing this since like before podcasting was cool. Like I remember distinctly following your page like probably like close to 10 years ago, and like, you know, sending in a picture and you reposted it, and like so yeah, you've just been at this for a long time, man. So congrats.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it wasn't like something I really set out to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to do like sports play-by-play and hopefully have like my own sports talk show someday.
Okay.
But everybody wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And it was so competitive. I was like a grunt at this station in Dallas. When we got married, I was like, this is a dead end. I'm literally like working on the weekends and overnight. And
Yeah.
trying to pay my dues. But so I'm glad I left, because that was like 14 or 15 years ago. And those guys are still there. All of them. No one's left. It's like a major market. There's just nowhere to go unless they like, you know, and you want to be like cheering for them to die so you can take their job. That's pretty morbid, but that's that's the reality. Like some of these people just need to kick the bucket.
Yeah.
So we moved to Texarkana. I took a job at like a small station out there and got to do my own sports talk show, and was doing a lot of play-by-play. And my boss was like, you got to host this weekly hunting and fishing show for all these rednecks in East Texas. They got to have their fix. And I was like, okay, cool. I like to, you know, at the time I was just like a duck hunter, maybe like a couple years. I hadn't been duck hunting very long.
Oh, really?
Dove hunting, and big bass fisherman though. I mean, my dad, he still goes bass fishing all the time, but we never had guns in the house. That was like something I just picked up in college with buddies. They were like, bring your lab, we're going duck hunting. I was like, do I have to get like a license, and where do I buy a shotgun? You know, like,
yeah.
So I waited. I think I had to like bartend, wait tables for like a couple weeks, and then I had enough money to buy an 870.
Nice.
They were like, I think I probably told them, no, I'm going to drink beer and chase girls. Y'all can take my dog. They were like, no, you got to come. Okay. So we go. The dog is so scared every time we shoot. He's just like trying to run away from the blind. He weighed 100 pounds. So he's like dragging half the blind with him. Everyone's missing. They weren't any good either. They were terrible duck hunters too.
Yeah.
Someone finally hit a bird, let old Maverick off of his leash, and he was like, okay, cool. And he went and got the duck and brought it back. And
really just completely untrained.
He didn't like bring it to my hand, you know, but he set it at my feet, and I was like, oh, okay. And then he was never gun shy again. I was like, okay, cool. So he likes it. I like it. And then I was just like, when do we get to go again? and that's just kind of, everything's evolved from that moment in time.
So you were in college at that point?
Yeah, I was in college.
Okay. Yeah. So you started hunting kind of late in the game, and then the outdoor show came from your boss told you to do it, and then just evolved.
Yeah. So he told me to do it, and then we had that economic downturn in like 2008 when we had that bad recession, and we lost a lot of our advertisers at that station. Like a lot of the auto dealerships just closed, and you know, he was like, dude, I can't afford to keep you anymore. I was like, oh crap, you know, we signed a year lease in Texarkana. What are we gonna do? And so we moved back to Dallas, and I was like, you know, what I really loved about that job the most was that weekly, that time every week where I got to talk to other outdoorsmen, and that became my passion. I was just like, I told my wife, I was like, and we're living with her parents at the time, trying to figure out where we wanted to move to, where we wanted to buy a house, and luckily she always had a job, so when I got laid off, we weren't like homeless or anything. But
right.
We moved in with my in-laws, and she's a nurse practitioner.
Nice.
So at the time she was a nurse. But yeah, so she's always had a job, and she has been very supportive of this endeavor, labor of love, because initially, like, I started it on my in-laws' dining room table, probably like the first 15 episodes, and then we bought a house, and I got my own little recording studio. But
nice.
Yeah, it was it was a leap of faith for her and for me. Like, how do you make money doing this?
Yeah.
So I had to like buy the airtime on these radio stations, and then, you know, recruit sponsors. And at the time, I wouldn't turn down a $200 check from a fishing guide on Lake Texoma. You know, be like, oh, I'll make you a commercial. I'll do the commercial for free. Just run it on my show for like a couple of weeks. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
Those are. It's funny to look back on that, but
for sure.
Yeah, but there were no podcasts back then.
Right.
So it was just a radio show. And then by default, iTunes let people put their content out there. And so I was just like, oh, I guess I'll start putting it on iTunes and my website. And, nobody even knew what a podcast was.
Right.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I remember like being like, I literally remember, I'm pretty sure your show was like the first time I heard about like a podcast. And I was like, what the crap is that?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was, I guess it's been a dozen years. We just had our 600th episode.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's been a minute, and never a dull one.
Yeah. And you were already kind of in the world, or you wanted to do a talk show. That was kind of your thing. It was just, you wanted to do sports.
Yeah. I got a degree in radio, TV, film.
Nice.
Actually, so the recording software that I, learned in college at North Texas, still the updated version is what I'm still using today. So yeah, I kind of got a good knowledge base, but it's not required anymore,
Right. That's true.
Obviously anybody can have a podcast, and that's a great thing. So
yeah, although it is pretty saturated market, which is good that you got in early.
Right.
So yeah, my background is in TV. I was a camera operator and then like a producer for the 700 Club. You ever heard of that show? Pat Robertson, the old preacher guy on TV.
Okay.
No, not ringing a bell.
No.
Anyway, worked for them.
I don't get my evangelical fix on TV. Like during COVID, I was like, we tried watching church on TV, and it lasted like a month. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to church when church opens back.
Yeah.
Up. Sorry,
sure,
God,
man.
please forgive me. I know I need to be in your presence, but it was punishment for the kids. They're like, this sucks. What are we doing?
I mean, church is such a social thing, it's hard to replace it with that. But so that, being your anniversary, congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
That kind of led me to and I wanted to hear the whole story, how you got started. But one of my questions was like, at what point, it feels like it's a tipping point when your wife is finally like, okay, this is legit. When did you reach that point?
I think when she saw checks like starting to come in, and she's like, so we're not in the negative anymore. That's progress, Like maybe after it probably took, I would say 18 months to like start actually turning a profit.
Yeah.
And then from there, I started adding radio stations so I could sell the airtime for more money. Sponsors get more exposure.
Yeah.
At the time, I really wasn't using social media as an entity to increase their exposure. Instagram, I think Facebook had just started, and Instagram would come around like 7 or 8 years later.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like 50-50. You can do very well promoting sponsors on social media. But yeah, she's still like, I had the whole family on for episode 600, and I contemplated, I think for like 500, I had on Steve Ranella, and I probably have had on try to get a big guest for like significant milestones, little ones. I was like, you know what? Things have changed for me, and talking to those people is fun, and I still love to do it. But what gives me the most joy is taking my kids hunting or fishing.
Yeah.
So it's like, let me just interview each one of them and see what they think of this whole deal. And the kids were great. Henry was a little more talkative than the girls because he's 8 and they're 6. But I think the best was visiting with Erin, my wife, because she was like, yeah, I don't even think you can call it a job. Really, you just go hunting, and you call me, in the evenings, you've had a couple beers and you're hanging out with the guys, and y'all are having so much fun, and I'm sitting here watching these kids, and it's like, it's not really a job. And I was like, yeah, but it is, because I do spend a lot of time in production, as you know,
sure.
And having to put it out as a radio show and a podcast, it's like doing 2 different shows, because the radio show can only be 60 minutes. Sometimes the podcasts are an hour and a half. So then it's like going through and editing and chopping content. And, but the thing that she finds the weirdest is like that you'll meet someone online.
Yeah.
And you'll go hunting with them.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's like dating for dudes, but you guys meet on social media, and then you don't even know the person. He could murder you with an axe. And she's like, and I wouldn't even know where you are half the time, because you just go to these small little towns in the middle of nowhere and shoot stuff. And so she thinks I think she thinks it's hilarious on some level.
Do you guys still deal with, because I'm looking at potentially, Lord willing, maybe being able to move into this semi full time sometime the next year or so. But, you know, obviously, as you know, it requires a lot of traveling. And there is that kind of tension of I'm at home with these kids, you're out having fun / work. Do you still have that friction there? Does that ever get better, or does it just stay there?
There's usually like one emotional breakdown every year, and it's about the time. So I typically go to Africa in the summer, and that's like 11 days. It's a 7-day hunt, but it's 2 days of travel each way. And then I always go spend a week elk hunting with my bow, and that is in September. So that's like 2, 9 to 11 day trips, kind of back to back. And that's like when she didn't have it this year, but in the past, so maybe she's come to grips with it. She's doing better, But previously, there's always one like, I can't do this. You're just not home enough. But it's only during hunting season, which is all year, so it's great.
But then, like you said, there's a trade-off there because you're not commuting into an office every single day, leaving at dark, getting back at dark. You're able to take the kids to school. You can pack their lunch. There's a trade-off.
That's the silver lining, and that's how I always justify it. I'm like, look, I'm very involved with my kids. I don't have to go to an office. I work out of the house, and I'm very involved with their lives. I pick them up, take them to soccer practice, do all the extracurricular stuff with them.
For sure.
So fortunate, but on days when I'm not out of town, I'm stay-at-home dad essentially. Just working out of the office.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, it's kind of the balance I've been trying to reach, but there's definitely still that friction of like you're leaving again, like
Oh yeah. Like I'm packing up this weekend and going. I'm taking the kids with me, which would be interesting because I've got a buck I'm trying to kill, and he's pretty smart. And I don't know that I can have 3 kids in the blind and kill this deer, but we're gonna give it back. And
is it that one with all those gnarly weird things in his rack?
Yeah, it is. And dude. So that buck's pretty cool. I have another buck that's like, I haven't even put it on social media because I didn't want any like neighbors to like figure out where I hunt.
Yeah.
And since I don't think any of the guys on my lease listen to this podcast yet, I've known about this deer for a long time, like September.
Yeah.
They didn't know about him until a week ago. So I, for opening weekend, weekend before last, we're out there and I'm going through trail camera pictures on my laptop. And I hadn't had any pictures of him sent to my live game camera since October 17th. I'm kind of losing hope. And finally I get this video of him. And one of the guys on the lease is sitting on the couch next to me. He goes, "Oh my God." And I had to fake excitement. I was like, "Oh my God, I've never seen this deer. It's so funny." We call him Louis Grande, but I was like faking all this excitement. And I was like, under my breath, I was like, "Damn it. No, they know that this deer is alive." But he hasn't been back since October 30th.
Okay. And how many guys are on your lease?
There's 4 of us.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. And how many acres?
800 acres.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But you know what? The thing is that they're generally my feeders, my blinds, my cameras. So I was like, you guys can see him when he's dead. And,
nice, man. Yeah, I'm in a club, and because out here where I'm at, like, there's not really public land, and everything's either leased up or the family hunts it or it's a club.
Right.
And so we have access to like 8,000 acres. But there's probably 35 guys in the club, but only probably like, I don't know, 5 or 6 actually like still hunt. The rest will show up on Saturday morning and like, they run dogs, but there's like 5 or 6 guys that actually still hunt the place. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
You ever done that before? Run deer with dogs?
I never have. We're not allowed to do that in Texas.
Yeah.
Where like the closest thing I could compare it to would be hog dogging. We do chase pigs all the time with dogs.
Yeah.
And that's like really if you want a hands-on visceral experience, try stabbing a pig being held down by a person in a pit bull.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. I took my son when he was 7 on one of these, and we didn't have the conversation. It was my buddy and his dogs. And we have this probably 200-pound sow caught. And now he's leaning on it. Like once you've got him shackled or whatever, I mean, it's pretty safe. And they were like, hey, Henry, come over here and stab this thing. And he looks at me and he's like, and I was like, Henry's not up for it yet. Give him a few more years. I'll do it.
7-year-old.
I was like, no, this is too much for him. So he's fine he shot a black buck doe and a whitetail last year.
Yeah, I saw on your Instagram. That's cool.
So we're hopefully, if I shoot that buck, I'll let him shoot a doe this weekend, or if that buck never comes up or comes around, I'll let him shoot a doe. Nice. But yeah, that was baptism by fire for a 7-year-old. I was really questioning whether I should have taken him.
That's intense.
On that.
Do you guys have exotics on your lease, or is it just whitetails?
No, we're not in a part of Texas where we have any exotic ranches. You gotta
cool.
go further south, like the hill country has.
Yeah,
it's nothing to be. And just driving through the hill country, I've hunted down in that area and driven through it so many times. You can see axis deer, free range, black buck.
Yeah.
One of my buddies has a giant red stag on his place right now. It's the only exotic he sees. I was like, hey, are you going out for the opener? And he's like, yeah, but I'm not deer hunting. I'm trying to kill this red stag.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So how do you how do you turn these hunts into like profit? I mean, not that it's directly, but like, are you going out to hunt with outfitters that are sponsors and then create content for them and advertise their places, or how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. Or just using, like Vortex is a big sponsor, and just, make sure you take, you don't ever want to be like a whore. Like, you don't want to make it look like all I do is take pictures of my sponsor stuff.
Yeah.
But it's important, they're basically, and I'm blessed to say, hey, these people are paying me to do this, to call hunting a job. But yeah, you just got to take classy looking. They don't like blood, unless it's a broadhead company, then they like a lot of blood. But
yeah.
Other than that, that's really the only company that's like, the more blood, the better, shows how devastating our broadheads are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's product placement and just lifestyle. Like,
yeah,
it's just.
And most of these relationships, are they like most of your sponsorship relationships, are they stuff that just kind of happened organically after you'd built up this large platform and following, or did a lot of them you were kind of aggressive about approaching them and stuff like that?
There's both for sure. Like Vortex, I've been with for probably eight years or so, and then like companies like Onyx, I've been with for 3 months. And I certainly reached out to Onyx. I don't remember. I probably reached out to Vortex at some point, but now it's just like one of those, hey, your contract's about to come up, and there really hasn't been any question about renewing it. So
cool.
But there are other companies I work with where I'm just like, this isn't the best fit anymore.
Yeah.
One apparel company in particular.
I'm trying. Who do you not want to say it?
Oh, I don't. It was one that I was with that just, I don't think my values in theirs didn't align.
I got you.
Things. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I guess you're working with Neuma now. Is that right?
Yeah. Very happy to be with Neuma.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw you were in deer camp with Dan Staten, who I got a chance to work with in New Mexico this year. How was that?
Oh, Dan was so cool. And I'd never met Dan. I mean, I knew of Elk Shape.
Right.
But I couldn't have told you the face behind it. Like, everyone had nice things to say about Dan, and the Neuma guys were like, oh, you're going to love being in camp with Dan. He's a cool guy,
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't have pointed it out from Adam. Now I consider ourselves friends, and he's gonna come on my podcast, and I'm gonna jump on his. I think.
Cool.
We're gonna tape that at the end of November.
Nice.
And we were gonna do it in camp, but my wife got sick, and I had to like unexpectedly jump on a plane and fly home.
Oh yeah.
She's fine. She just ended up being really bad food poisoning, but I didn't have my truck, and it was just kind of like, God, I feel really selfish. That was the only time I've ever been like, God, this is really selfish. I'm sitting here in camp and my wife spent the night in the hospital. It was just like,
yeah, that's rough.
But so Dan's a cool dude.
Yeah, you liking the Neuma stuff?
Oh yeah, dude. Only good things to say about it, and the gear's just getting better and better.
Nice.
But, I mean, it's right on par with Kuiu and Sitka and First Light. I mean, that's the kind of quality that they're putting out. And been very pleased with it.
Now I know who you're talking about. Because you were with them a long time.
Yeah.
Like when they were starting out.
Yeah. It was probably like 5 years, I think.
But I remember kind of when you started working with them, they were pretty new, right?
I think they were just really like becoming more mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting though. Are you able to delve into any of that? Because I'd like to ask you some about that stuff.
Yeah, you can ask. We'll just see where it goes.
So like what, I've heard
I don't want to badmouth them.
No. And I'm not even talking about a specific brand right now. I've heard of some of the drama or whatever, different opinions about, and you mentioned Steve Rinella earlier and stuff like that. What's the deal there?
Man, I don't know. And I've asked Steve on my show, like, which way do you vote, Steve? And he always very tactfully skirts that and says it's an issue by issue thing. And he's very aloof on that. He's non-committal. But there are people that work for Steve or worked for him, like Ben O'Brien, who said vote for Biden. That's a major conflict for me. Like, I believe if someone says we want to take your guns, they want to take your guns. They don't just say it.
Right.
This is the platform I'm running for president on. I want to revisit the Second Amendment. Well, no, that's not okay with me. And it shouldn't be okay with you, Ben O'Brien, or whoever, or, some of the other people on that work there would put the black space, and some of them even said, vote the assholes out. I'm like, okay, so you're talking about conservatives, like we're the assholes. I was just like, this just doesn't jive with me. But like the Second Amendment thing, like, we're a conservation company, right? Okay. Well, what funds conservation? By and large, Pittman Robertson dollars. What funds Pittman Robertson? Bullets, guns. That is not just like the ones that hunters buy. That's everybody. You know how many 223 rounds this country buys? Like consumers, and how many black rifles? That's all Pittman Robertson dollars that goes to fund conservation. When the guy says, I want to take your guns away, how does that filter down to a positive conservation initiative? It doesn't. It flies in the face of that. So it's like completely hypocritical. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And no, I don't get it. And I do not like BHA. Like, I've never been quiet about that. I think.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not a fan of what they do, because I don't think they do anything, and they pick and choose when it suits them. Like, hey, like New Mexico is trying to ban trapping on public land. You have a New Mexico chapter. Why aren't they talking about it? Well, that doesn't fit our we don't want to take away from our broader message. I'm like, this is a pretty substantial piece of legislation, and you're for hunting, fishing, trapping on public lands, and you should be all over this. No. Let us make a anti-high fence campaign and run that in Texas instead. I'm just like, okay. So your Texas chapter can do something that has nothing to do with private land or with public land, but your New Mexico chapter can't do something that create a little buzz about something that directly affects public land.
Right.
You don't even have anything to do with private land. And that's what they did. They came out with this Hunt Real Deer campaign. So they're telling me out of one side of their mouth, they don't let their state chapters do really anything outside of the box. And then like a month later, here's Texas chapter. Oh, I roasted them, dude. I burned that. I mean, that chapter's, I personally wanted to see that chapter fail once they did that.
Yeah.
And they weren't Texans. It was transplants that were running that chapter here. It was just like, you guys don't know Texas. You don't know Texans. You don't know our hunting culture here.
Yeah.
I was like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So,
not to mention, I mean,
they lost me.
Yeah. And I mean, there's different people fall on different sides of that debate, but that's essentially basically an anti-hunting stance.
Yeah, dude, it was, because, people that hunt high fences still buy hunting licenses.
Right.
They're still out there killing their own food. You can call it what you want, but they're not going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's like, it may not be the best thing, but a lot of people are so busy with their jobs that they get 1 or 2 weekends a year to hunt.
Yeah.
If they want to go hunt a high fence, it's not my favorite thing. I've shot stuff in high fences. Things that I've shot free range mean a lot more to me.
Yeah.
But if that's what they want to do, then they're still on our team, in my opinion. Like,
right. That's just kind of creating.
How does it affect you?
It's creating infighting within the hunting community when we have enough enemies already. Like, we don't need to fight amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But
so maybe just have the attitude of, hey, it's not for me, but it's cool that you do it. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's
well, along those lines, and like one of the things that I respect about you, and like, I'll be honest with you, dude, I've seen a couple of your posts myself, and I think I've even had a little bit of dialogue at times in the past of like, maybe this one doesn't quite sit right with me or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I think, but there's been kind of this movement in the hunting community, and some of it might have been, have something to do with Meat Eater, or they might have been a part of it. I don't know. I don't want to get into like specifics, but you can't kill stuff, you have to harvest it, and like getting away from showing the blood and stuff. And yeah, like you said, you want to be tasteful and we want to respect wildlife. We're not like about the gore and stuff, but you're very vocal about like not being ashamed of it either, and like not cowering from it. And so I just want to know, like, what's your thought process behind that?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm always going to take the respectful approach, because look, to be honest with you, I don't want to see a deer with its tongue hanging out and a bunch of blood coming out of its mouth or nose. Like, okay, that's reality, right? That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
But we are trying to, number one, recruit other hunters. And number two, this is the fine line. It's like, I don't ever want to pander to the non-hunters, like because they're wrong. They're 100% wrong. Anti-hunters, not non-hunters, excuse me. Non-hunters are cool. Half of them support us. Half of them are kind of like, well, yeah, whatever. It's not my thing. But the anti-hunters, if you pander to them, they're winning. It's such a small fraction of society, but they scream the loudest. And so, yes, we need to be respectful of wiping up the blood. But if you want to have a grip and grin and have a freaking bush light and a camo can on your tailgate while you're doing it, I don't care. That's what hunting looks like, right?
Yeah.
That's what deer camp looks like. This idea that, we have to have the deer positioned a certain way, and you have to be looking longingly into its eyes like you're in love with it, like, and that you're almost so sad that you took this animal's life. No, what really happens is, yes, there is a moment, I think every hunter, maybe when you walk up to that animal, it's like, maybe say a prayer of thanks to God or whatever, whoever your God is or whatever you believe in, Mother Earth, whatever it is. You're like, okay, I'm really thankful for this. And then you know what? And then it's high fives with your buddy, like, oh, it's so awesome, man.
Sure.
He dropped right here. Did you see that great shot I made? Or, whatever it is. It's not a, hey, son, or it's like, son, Henry, I'm so proud of you. What a great shot you made. How do you feel? And Henry looks at me, he's like, my stomach's kind of upset. And I was like, that's called adrenaline. And he's like, oh. He's like, yeah, it doesn't feel like a bad one. He's like, I kind of like it, actually. So, I mean, it's as visceral an experience as you can have.
For sure.
But it's not, we're not bloodthirsty. Right. We're doing it to feed our families. Now, the people that do stuff like blow up hogs with tannerite and post videos of that on like Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
That makes us all look like bloodthirsty rednecks. That kind of stuff should not be condoned. So sure. I just think like that was a long answer to your short question, but yeah, we just can't pander to the anti-hunters. We can't be ashamed of what we're doing, and we don't have to make every photo look like it was something that should be in a magazine where it's it's such a somber experience. Right. Because there are, I mean, like when I shot, there was the only time I've ever like actually had tears was when I shot an elk one time. And it was like the hardest grind of a hunt. Like I got blisters on the first day in.
Yeah.
I wasn't like bawling, but I was like, man, I could feel like my eyes are watering. I was just like, and it wasn't because I was sad about killing the elk. It was because it was the most physically and mentally challenging thing that I ever overcame that week. But other than that, generally it's usually smiles and like whoever shot a duck. Okay, we just had opening day last weekend. Here comes a group of widgeon. We shoot like 3 or 4, way out, everyone tooting and hollering. Like there's not a somber moment in that experience. It's like, great shot, guys. Let's do it again. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Watch the dog do her thing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's exciting, man. It's fun. At the end of the day, we don't go out there for the somber experience. We do this because it's fun and it's worthwhile. Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we shouldn't be ashamed of having fun with it, and
no,
you gotta share respect, but high fives and all. I mean, and to each their own. I mean, there has been a little bit of this sort of like almost crunchy movement in the backcountry hunting kind of world of like, but that's cool. I mean, like, I think there's good to be taken from all of it, because I think you can be like way over here on the redneck camp and like there's some good and bad, and you can be way over here in the crunchy camp and there's some good and bad. But if we can have balance in there and just kind of all respect each other, I think it can be good,
That's why I like to do all of it. I like to experience the crunchy, and I'm not crunchy, but I fit in there just as well as I do in some Alabama redneck camp. It's I like it all and everything in between. I mean, you tell me when the season is and I'll say, okay, what weapon do I have to bring? And and I don't claim to be good at any of them. Like I'm just like there's some people like Dan. Like Dan's an incredible bow hunter. He's a great archer. I don't have time to do that. Like there's so much other stuff to do. Like we have pigs nonstop. I'm shooting pigs on that place that I have leased all year round.
Yeah.
I mean, they never go away. But you know, Dan's probably shooting his bow every day. I'm not. I pick up my bow like August 1st and I shoot for a month.
Right. I mean, he's laser
I have wounded
focused
elk,
on
you know,
archery.
there's just like, yeah, I'm not though. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I'll shoot you know, tell me when muzzleloader season is. I'll show up with that, you know, it's
yeah. And I'm kind of more like that too. Like I said, like here, you know, I'm in a dog club and because it's the only place I can deer hunt around here. And then like, you know, it's not really necessarily my thing. I'll do it. I've shot a couple deer behind dogs. It's a very like Virginia kind of thing. It's just like, it's part of the hunting culture here. Some guys, like I remember telling Dan and his buddy Jake when I was out there about dog hunting deer, and they're like, what? Like, that's so weird. They never even heard of it. And some people I feel like look down on stuff like that, like a bunch of just fat, lazy rednecks and stuff. And like, yeah, maybe some of them are fat, lazy rednecks, but you know, it's a different experience.
That's your culture though. That's your tradition. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I would certainly hunt deer with dogs one time. I would do anything as long as it's legal and what I deem as ethical. And I don't think hunting anything with dogs is unethical. Humans have been doing that since we've been able to domesticate dogs. Like 100%. That's what we've done. Tons of these breeds are bred for that. You know what? Most of these breeds are bred for originally protection or helping us procure protein. Yeah, that's what they're for.
Right.
So
we can't bait here though. There's no baiting in Virginia.
No, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we bait the hell out of everything in Texas.
Yeah, I know. It's like that's like the number one sin here is baiting. Like you cannot bait anything.
What's funny to me is to hear the Midwest guys. So you've got the Western guys, you've got the Midwest guys, and you've got the Southern guys.
Yeah.
The Midwest guys that frown on Texans or Alabamans or whoever, Mississippi for baiting blows my mind, because I've been there and done that. Like I've gone to Illinois, Pike County, muzzleloader season. I'm sitting in a box blind, like something you'd see in Texas, overlooking, I would say, 5 acres of soybeans that have been manipulated.
Right.
Like, oh, more hunters are coming into camp. Now we have to cut down another couple rows of soybeans.
Right. It's the same thing.
They purchased the soybeans from the farmer. Like, hey, please don't harvest this 10-acre plot. We're going to buy those bushels from you. Then they go in there and they manipulate it. There isn't a corner of the soybean field that I can't reach out and touch with that muzzle loader. Like anything that comes in there is dead.
Yeah.
Right. If I want to shoot it, that's no different than sitting in a blind in Texas hunting a corn feeder. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's just a bigger corn feeder. So don't tell me that, you know, you're not okay with hunting over bait, but that you manipulate crops and then hunt over that. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
And again, I'm fine with all of it. You do it ethically and legally and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, for sure, man. Have you got any other hunts this year coming up, or any other good hunts you've had this year?
Well, I've had to cancel 2 hunts because of like vaccination requirements. Like,
oh, no way.
So I was supposed to go to British Columbia in Vancouver Island and do a black bear hunt with Vortex. That was supposed to happen spring of 2020, and then COVID came and they were like, no, the border's closed. And then this year they're like, well, the border's open, but you have to be vaccinated. And then I just had to miss out on a Saskatchewan greenhead hunt with Mossberg for the same reason.
Wow.
And now I've just canceled an Argentinian dove and duck trip because they're like, well, you can come if you're not vaccinated, but you have to quarantine for 7 days. I'm like, I'm not quarantining for 7 days for a 4-day hunt. Like, forget it. And then they're like, well, and I was like, and none of the guys in my group want to do that either. And some of the guys in the group are vaccinated, so it wasn't a big deal for them. But they were like, your country requires the same thing. And I was like, no. And then I went and looked, and I'll be danged if we don't. Like,
really,
it's like the same deal. I don't even think we're letting in unvaccinated people at all right now.
Wow,
without really special like permits. Like,
so that's still in effect. You can't go to Canada without getting vaxxed.
No. So, and as someone, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I was just talking to my mom yesterday. I was like, you should probably get the booster. You're 66. You had COVID really bad. You know, last Thanksgiving, it almost killed her. She's in the hospital for 30 days. And my dad's diabetic. And I was like, y'all should get it. Like, I'm not anti-vaccine at all. I'm just like, I had it. It didn't kill me. I've gone and didn't kill me. I mean, I felt like I had a headache for 2 days. Other
Yeah.
people have had it way worse. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You have to make your own choice for you and your family. Like,
Yeah.
that's where it is. It's just, you're not going to tell me I have to do it
Right.
when I have natural immunity too. So, I mean,
Yeah,
I've been to Africa twice since then and put myself out there, and I play soccer and basketball. And, you know, I don't know what it's like where you are, but, you know, we haven't had mask mandates or anything like that in a year. I mean,
yeah, dude, I was like, I was that guy walking into Walmart in the height of this thing with no mask. Like I went to the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History.
oh, I'd like to go there.
Oh, it's sick. It's basically a taxidermy museum.
Yeah.
Like, it's sick. You would love it. But anyway, I went in there with my family, like, I don't know, 3 months ago. I was the only person, thousands, not wearing a mask. And like the people asked me like 3 times to put a mask on. I put it on and then I'd walk away and just take it off. I don't know why. I just can't do it. I don't agree with it. If I'm in like, there's certain situations.
I'll do it out of respect if it's
right.
like required. Like I will do it, but it's ridiculous to think that some, like, everyone here wears these Old Navy ones that all the wives buy. Like, it's a piece of cloth. The Old Navy's making millions of dollars off of, and you're telling me I'm sitting on this airplane, squished in here like a sardine, and this other guy has he doesn't even have a mask on. He just has like a little hunting do-rag pulled up over his face. Like, you think that is protecting us? It's like, no. Maybe if everyone had an N95 that they wore nonstop, maybe that would make a difference. But that's not reality. So stop telling me that these things work.
And I'm the same way. Like, I'm not necessarily like a hardline like anti-vaxxer or anything, but like for me, like, I'm not getting the COVID vaccine, mainly because it's just, they rushed it out. It hasn't been tested long term. Right. And honestly, part of it is just like, it pisses me off that they're trying to make me do it and I just don't want to.
Right.
So screw them.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Well, I mean, the thing about, like, I don't want to make this the COVID show, but it's worth saying, like, now they're going to try to vaccinate 5 to 11-year-olds.
No.
And 500 out of like 20 million kids that have gotten COVID from the age of 0 to 17, 500 kids have died. My kids got COVID in August, and they were so sick that we never knew they had COVID. And like, literally, like, my son one day said, "Dad, I have a headache. I can't go to soccer practice. I don't feel good." I said, "Okay, I'll take your temperature. No fever." I said, "All right, well, if your head really hurts, you don't have to go to soccer. I'll take your temperature again tomorrow morning."
Yeah.
And again, tomorrow morning, the next morning, no fever. So I sent him to school. Well, my wife got the whole family signed up in this Texas Health antibodies study just for like COVID research. And because she's in the medical field, and she's like, you know, we should be a part of active participants in this research. Okay. So I'm thinking I'll have antibodies from having COVID, and she will, but the kids won't, because they got tested twice when we had COVID and they were all negative. No, their antibodies were sky high. And that's where we're like, they've had COVID since they went back to school. And they exposed us, but neither one of us got COVID again because of natural immunity. So, you know, it's just like, why would I vaccinate my kids the girls never showed any symptoms whatsoever. Yeah.
So are they trying to force your wife into it?
No, she is vaccinated.
Okay.
She got it, not forced. She got it kind of early, like in last February, when I don't think there was a lot of information on it. Just being in the medical field.
Sure.
They made it available to medical personnel, and she was just like, "I'm going to get it." And so she has had joint pain, though. I'm just like, she's like, "I'm just older." And I'm like, "Yeah, what's changed?" "Well, you got that shot." And that's the only thing that's changed. So we go back and forth on that, but she knows not to ask me about whether I'm getting vaccinated anymore or not.
Yeah. Well, kind of a good segue, because I don't want to go down the whole COVID rabbit trail. But I was going to ask you about hunting in Canada, because that's something that I'd like to do. It seems like there's a lot of good opportunity in Canada.
Oh man, it's great. Yeah.
But well, now you got to get vaccinated. But let's just table that. So besides having to get vaccinated, like, what are there challenges with like firearms or getting tags, or is it just pretty easy? What's that like hunting in Canada?
No, firearm transportation into Canada really wasn't a big deal. I've been to Alberta for a black bear hunt, and I did a week-long trapline trip in British Columbia. Yeah. And then I did a moose hunt in Newfoundland. and no issues with firearms. Actually, I didn't take a firearm on the trap line, but the other two, I certainly took a rifle.
Yeah.
And yeah, no problem whatsoever.
I'm sure the outfitters
was,
and guides like know how to navigate all that. And...
Oh yeah, yeah. And I mean, Canada just has is it's just in those areas so sparsely populated with so much game.
Yeah.
It's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not Alaska or Yukon expensive. Which Yukon
it's cheaper than Alaska.
Yeah. So, well, it's probably comparable. Like if you want to do a black bear hunt in Alaska, it's probably $4,000 or $5,000. It's probably the same in Alberta or Manitoba or Saskatchewan.
Now,
Ontario.
can you do any DIY hunting in Canada, or does it all have to be guided?
I do not think that Americans can do DIY without, like, if you had a resident, like I have had people off Instagram be like, "Hey, come up here and shoot a moose with me."
Just like if you have a resident friend
allowed to do that, and they're like, "Yeah, as long as as long as you're with me and it's my property or whatever."
Okay, that's cool.
But I don't think there's a lot of DIY non-resident opportunity.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Now you can go to Alaska, and I want to do this. I want to do a DIY caribou hunt. And you can do stuff like that for about. You have to be the expensive part is getting, the freighter flying you in and out.
So I did that 2 years ago.
Oh, you did?
We didn't even take an air transporter. We walked in.
How'd that
go? As far as a trip, it was amazing. We were just behind the herd in the first spot. Like literally, you couldn't take 2 steps without stepping in a pile of caribou droppings. Like they were there, and it was a controlled use area, which means no motor vehicles or ATVs of any kind, which cuts down on the local competition of guys that have side-by-sides and whatnot. We were there for about 3 days. The herd was gone, so we left and went to another area, a well-known area near Fairbanks, which was open to ATVs, but we had a couple successful stalks. Long story short, we could have killed it. We just the animals that we got into range of, we weren't 100% sure that they weren't cows or small bulls, so we decided not to pull the trigger. But as a whole, it was a successful trip. And in retrospect, we probably should have shot one of them. I'm pretty sure it was a bull, but anyway. And then I did Kodiak this year. So we got flown into a lake up in the Alpine and deer hunted, and that was amazing.
So for blacktails?
Yeah.
And did y'all find success there?
Yeah. We filled 3 tags there. My buddy killed one that was like over 100 inches, probably 105, 15. Like people were stopping him in the airport, taking pictures with him, like local people.
Really?
Yeah. Like
that's awesome.
When we were cleaning it at the fish station in Kodiak, like one local dude came by and looked at it and like started making a phone call, and then like 20 dudes filtered through just to look at this thing. It was so big.
Wow.
But I killed a nice one, but it looked like a baby compared to his. Here, I'll show you mine.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do like Coues deer and blacktail, and I mean, see, like people don't understand, like that's a trophy for a blacktail.
This is a really nice blacktail.
A DIY. If you're like, well, that looks like a dink of a whitetail. Okay, but that's different species
for sure.
So, it's like
have you never done the Coues thing yet?
I never have. I've been looking at like Arizona and but even like an outfitted hunt, you still usually have to put in 2 years or 3 years, and
not for archery.
Not for archery, but there's a reason. Like Steve Rennell told me one time, there's a reason why we don't do much bow hunting. It's because not enough stuff gets killed, and you have to kill stuff for TV.
It's tough. I actually might be going down to Arizona this January to hunt with some guys, but it'd be archery.
Yeah, the late season archery. Or is that when they're rutting?
Yeah, I think
they
January.
Rut really late.
Yeah. It's like a combo. It's any deer, so it's Coues or mule deer, and there's javelina too. And it's OTC tag.
Nice.
So hopefully that works out.
Yeah, I definitely want to do Arizona. I've never hunted Arizona.
Me either.
Only been there once, and that was for a bachelor party. We went to my brother's bachelor party. We went to the Waste Management golf tournament.
Yeah,
the one where like the players wear jerseys, like their favorite sports team jersey on this. It's a big party, dude. It was It was bachelor party deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I stopped putting in for the Arizona elk tags just because every time it's like, oh, you have to buy the license. Okay, well, it's $350
Yeah.
every time to get a point there. I'm just like, you know what? Forget that. I'll just keep applying in New Mexico and building
Yeah.
points in Wyoming and Montana and Utah and
Yeah.
wherever they're not going to gouge me. Like by the end of 20 years, you've spent so much money that you could just gone on a guided hunt.
Right. That's
So-
kind of what I was doing with the like Wyoming bighorn sheep like points. I just decided I'm just gonna keep the $150 every year, and like in 30 years I'll just get a Dall sheep like guided hunter. Although I've heard rumors that they're talking about maybe closing Dall sheep to non-residents, or at least going to a draw system sometime in the near future, which I hope they don't.
Yeah, Alaska. I hope that they don't either. But you know, they have so much opportunity. It would be a shame if they started really limiting it, because nothing I've ever heard says that the Dall sheep numbers are in decline. Or I mean that
Yeah.
range it's untouched. Like
It's so big. They're like animals that will live and die their whole lives and never see a human. Many animals.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you, you've done quite a bit of hunting around the world. What do you think is like the best bang for the buck adventure hunt that a guy could do?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty easy. And I haven't been to like the really remote areas of Africa. Like I want to go to Tanzania and hunt leopard, and I want to go to Botswana and shoot an elephant. You know, I'd love to do those things, but it's just so expensive, right? So not bang for your buck. Bang for your buck is South Africa.
Okay.
Like we have kudu, we have sable, we have gemsbuck in Texas. You want to shoot a kudu in Texas? Okay, $15,000.
Wow,
Shoot
really?
a sable? Okay, give me your 12 grand. You know, and people do it. I would never do that, but you can do it in South Africa and shoot a kudu bull in South Africa is like $2,000. So people think if you're going to go on a safari, you better have $20,000-$30,000. No, there's a retired fireman went with me in January, my good friend Dave Lane, and you know it was his retirement present to himself, and he was like, my budget is $10,000 flight and gratuity included. And dude, he stayed under that, and he shot 6 animals, like
Wow.
a lot, like wildebeest and zebra and impala, warthog. I'm not sure what his list was exactly. I don't know that he got the kudu, but yeah, he shot a bunch of animals, and it's very affordable to go over there. The value of the American dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, they want American dollars, you know.
Right.
So bang for your buck, South Africa. You can go over there and shoot a bunch of things for not a lot of money.
Yeah, dude, I just did a podcast with Baker from Black Rifle. And he was telling me about that too. And I was telling him, well, like, first of all, I guess there's so many like hunts still on North America that I haven't done yet that I like want to do. But also the fact that, I don't know, meat is such a big deal for me, and like that you can't bring your meat home is tough for me. But he was telling me like Africa is just amazing. You can bring your skulls home, right? Or how's that work?
Yeah. I have all the Africa stuff is in my trophy room, but I was gonna see. Oh, no, I've got one. I got one right here.
And we were also talking about, I mean, I've been to, oh, nice, dude. Look at that thing. Was that a warthog? Is that a warthog?
So this is the only one I have in my studio.
Dang,
but
dude.
yeah,
that's gnarly.
Yeah.
If you're just listening, it's
warthog.
a giant warthog with huge tusks.
Yeah.
That's like a trophy one, right? I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah, dude. And it was crazy. So there's a bullet hole in the top of his head there.
No way.
You can see right there.
He survived that?
No, he didn't survive.
Oh, okay. That's from you.
So yeah, we shot the pig. He was bedded down. We found him through a spotting scope. And that's another cool thing about Africa. It's not and I had this wrong like premonition of what I thought Africa was going to be like. Drive around on flat ground till you see something you want to shoot, and then just get out of the truck and shoot it. And I was like, that doesn't really appeal to me. But okay,
Yeah.
Everyone swears by Africa. It's this great life-changing experience from a hunting perspective. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go. Dude, Nothing. I've shot one animal out of like the 30 I've killed over there out of the truck. When they're like, that's the biggest mountain springbuck we've ever seen, and this is like a free range place. And I was like, what's a mountain springbuck? And they were like, that's it right there. I was like, how much is it? And they were like $400. I was like, boom, like that's the only time. Everything else has been spot and stock, and I mean, you earn it a lot of the time. But you might be hunting kudu and see, like, I think we were hunting kudu, and we saw this warthog bedded down. Then it was like, okay, now we got to get over there. So we stalked over there, and then we literally laid down prone for like an hour before the thing woke up. Yeah. And when he stood, I shot him, and I hit him just like a little bit high. And so he ran. There's an epic YouTube on the John X Safaris channel of this whole, my friend Carl, my PH, was like, well, you wanted a rodeo. Now you got one, cowboy. We're in for a day. And the pig's bleeding. They put the tracking dog on it, which is a little Jack Russell Terrier. Wow. That's what they use over there because they're smaller targets. Like if you used a lab or some kind of hound, these animals kick them or gore them. And so they use the tiny dogs because they're just smaller targets. So they put the Jack Russell on this pig's trail, and like, we don't know where the dog went. Like we can't hear him. We can't see him. Then we finally hear this faint barking, and the dog has gone into the riverbank with this pig. Whereas basically this was the daddy pig of the area, like the big boar, boss boar. And he has like the Taj Mahal tunnel system dug into this riverbank. And so we find the dog in there, and the dog's not coming out. He's bayed the pig up in this.
He's in the hole with the pig.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like into the
That's
side
a brave
of the
dog.
Yeah. Well, these Jack Russells don't know that they only weigh 15 pounds, right? They have the heart of a lion. But we're like, well, now we're not going to crawl in there after, like, with a gun and like a head. No. So we start digging from the top of the riverbank where we think the dog is barking. And we dig one hole, and we're using sticks. We don't even have a shovel. Like, this is real African bush stuff. Like, we're digging this thing out by hand and with sticks. And we finally get the hole open, and we're like, we've miscalculated where the pig is and the dog. But we did get a GoPro in there, and now we can see the dog and the pig, and there's bats flying around, and it's crazy. Oof. And the dog's barking at the pig. And so then we dig another hole on top of it, and it ended up like, shoot, that's where the bullet hole came from.
Okay, nice.
And then we had to
dragged
get the
it
hole
out
bigger and pull it out. Yeah. So
dang, that's awesome.
It was a memorable one.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm assuming you get to eat some of your kill while you're over there too.
Yeah. So the meat, you said, is an important component for you. It is for me too. I don't think I would go over there if we didn't eat what we shot in camp, or you're eating. A lot of times you're eating what the safari in front of you shot.
Right.
So because they hang everything to let it age.
Sure.
And so they might have aged it for a week. Like, okay, we're going to eat wildebeest tenderloin tonight, and she'll go and grab the one from last week. And then the next safari is eating what you shot. But there are times when it's like, hey, I want to eat this. Like, I shot a Cape Buffalo. I want to eat its tongue. And they're like, cool. And they make a wonderful dish out of that.
I had beef tongue for the first time we had beef tongue for dinner the other night. It was amazing.
Nice. Oh, I love it. Well,
so tender.
We have a lot of authentic, like, Mexican food here, and lingua tacos are a big thing. Yeah. Yeah. So we get it frequently here, but I definitely wanted to eat the
tongue of the because back in the day, like on the trappers and stuff in the west of America, like when they killed a buffalo, liver and tongue was the first thing they were eating.
Oh yeah. They love liver over there too. Like that, none of that stuff ever goes to waste.
Yeah.
I like to cook heart and liver a certain way, and then Carl was like, okay, you need to bring that seasoning back next year and do that liver and heart the same way you did it. And
nice, dude.
But yeah, the only animal that I've ever, well, there's two that I keep the tongues, is the moose. I mean, just because like whitetails, you could eat the tongue, but it's a lot of work for not very much meat. Yeah. So the moose, I've prepared that, and then duck tongues is like real popular in Asian culture. Yeah. And you take the tongues out, and we batter them. Yeah. Or we just saute them in like onions and mushrooms and garlic butter, and then like use a little like some kind of Polynesian or spicy dipping sauce. Oh, they're good. And they have like a bone in the middle, and you just put them in your mouth and just pull the meat off. Nice. And then you're left with like the little tongue bone. But
that's another thing I forgot. You are very adventuresome about eating all different types of cuts and everything.
Yeah. My
have you eaten testicles yet?
Oh, I was just about to say, like, my kids think eating nilgai testicles is like a normal thing. It's like when I had Henry on, my son, for that 600 episode, I was like, so what are some of the weird things that well, they're not weird to you, but like, what are the
Right.
things that you've eaten that your friends probably never have tried? And he's listing off mountain lion and duck tongues. And I was like, what about those nilgai testicles? And I said, you know what testicles are, right? The little things underneath your peener. And he's like, oh yeah, those are so good. He's like, I remember those now. They were sliced and fried, and yeah, no, they were delicious.
That was good. Okay.
Oh
Well, that's awesome, dude. And back to the Africa thing. I mean, I've been to Uganda.
And
I think
for
like
a mission trip or what?
Yeah, a missions trip. And I'd say nowhere probably that I've been is the conservation model of hunting as conservation more apparent than in Africa, because like I was there for like maybe a week or 10 days. I don't think I saw one living wild animal, like, and we like drove like through the countryside for hours. And like, you know, like if you're like in America, if you're driving for like 6-8 hours, you're going to see at least a couple deer or something. Like,
right.
Nothing alive. Like everything had been killed and eaten like generations ago.
Yeah. Well, so Uganda doesn't allow hunting, you know, or they don't have any kind of economy based off of hunting. Like they don't have a sustainable model over there. Like, like the method is proven. We proved it here in North America that things that have a value stick around.
Yeah.
South Africa has taken it and like extrapolated out times 10 million. Like they have, I don't remember what percent of, like, if you looked at what the animals they had in the 60s versus what they have now, it's like 10,000% more.
Wow.
And a lot of it's on like, I've shot maybe 30 animals over there. I don't know exactly how many, but half of them have probably been on a 30,000 acre preserve.
Right.
The fence is not there to keep the animals in. It's to keep the poachers out.
Yeah.
It's not
and 30,000 acres. It's not like,
they don't know there's a fence there.
No, it's not like you're just shooting fish in a barrel.
No, but like this warthog we shot in the mountains, like people don't realize, like mountain hunting, like the kudu stuff. It's like elk hunting here, like in the mountains, you're glassing. It's tons of glassing and spotting and stalking, and you're always moving. You're always looking at animals, like even ones you don't want to shoot. Like you might pick over 20 different rams or bulls before you find a mature one, and they're not letting you shoot dinks. They're like, we're only taking ones that we would be proud to shoot ourselves. Yeah, and they stick by that.
Yeah,
and that's probably an outfitter to outfitter thing, but yeah, it's Uganda. I imagine. Let's see, what are some of the other countries? Kenya is down. Kenya in the 70s had the most robust wildlife populations in Africa. Now they're down. They're down to 30% of what they had. Well, they outlawed hunting in the 70s. Okay, well, here you go. Here's your failure. You know,
that's crazy.
These animals don't have a value anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to go over there sometime, maybe one day.
Well, get your show, real popular, and then I'll be honest, I don't pay to go over there.
Yeah,
I trade it out for advertising.
Nice.
And I take a group with me, and I'm fortunate that way. That's why I've gone 5 times, right? I mean, like for me, that, like my buddy the fireman, like $10,000 is a lot of money. Like for me, that's like, maybe I could say, hey, honey, I think I want to, go to Africa and do this, and she'd be like, well, how much is it? And I could, as soon as I can write it off, she's probably a lot more lenient than other spouses would be. But it wouldn't be go 5 years in a row, sure, type of deal. I pay for the plane ticket and I leave gratuity, and that's something you should probably do a whole show on at some point. Is I don't think people realize when they go on these outfitted hunts, like these people work their butt off.
Yeah,
and especially the guides that don't have any ownership or interest in the company,
right?
Like they're just working off tips and whatever the guide the outfitter pays them per day,
for sure.
So gratuity at the end of those trips is pretty expensive, but they work their tail off for you. You need to tip the kitchen and the house cleaning, and all those people need to be taken care of,
for sure.
So
well, cool. Best bang for your buck, Africa. I'm sure most people think, oh, it's like Africa, they probably think it's like the most expensive thing you can do or something, just because of perception.
Well, it can be like, like you want to go shoot a leopard in Zambia, that can be pretty expensive.
Yeah. What's your favorite Africa gun?
Um, man, I've shot so many things with the 7 mag over there, even things as big as
Yeah.
an Eland. Like, I like that a lot. My two favorite all around calibers are 300 Win Mag and 7 mag.
Yeah.
And I think you just shoot what you're comfortable with. Like, people were like, why are you whitetail hunting with a 300 Win Mag? And I'm like, because I don't think you can be overgunned. How about that? Like,
Yeah.
dead is dead. I like it, especially, if I'm shooting a doe, that's my goal. I'll probably take like a 243, something. I love a 270.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm after a trophy buck, I'm shooting with a 7 mag or a 300 Win Mag. I don't want him to drop right there. I'm going to shoot him in the shoulder. That's what I'm going to do. I think you just shoot what you have confidence in. But
Yeah.
I love 300 Win Mag and 7 mag.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
Well, cool, man. Well, this has been really fun catching up with you, man.
What's your favorite caliber?
Oh my goodness, I knew you were gonna ask me that. You're gonna laugh at me. Well, I don't have a favorite really, but I had a 30-06, and then I wanted to get a super light backcountry.
You went with, you're part of Creed Nation now?
I did. I got a Weatherby. I got a Weatherby backcountry, and the only non-proprietary chambering they offered in that gun was the Creedmoor. Yep. And my buddy, who's ex-Navy Special Warfare, huge gun nerd, he recommended it for a various number of reasons. And so I wanted a light rifle with good ammo availability, fun to shoot, accurate. So I went with that. But now I'm looking at trying to put together like a 30 caliber build for elk, because I definitely don't want to take it elk hunting.
I make fun of the 6.5 Creed Nation just because they're so passionate about it. But I have one. I shoot. It's my pig and coyote gun.
Yeah.
And it's shooting at distance and stuff like that. It's really a great caliber. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's just funny because it's got like a cult following. They're so diehard. Don't you ever talk bad about 6.5 Creed? I'm like, actually, I'm part of 6.5 Creed. I'm just like, not like wearing my heart on my sleeve with it.
Yeah, I'm not like one of these dudes that's like super into it either. But it has been a really good gun for me for taking a couple whitetails with it. I took my blacktail, and then I took a really nice antelope buck this year in Wyoming with it. It's the most accurate gun. I'm not a super long range, like I grew up bow hunting, so the whole like rifle thing is like fairly new to me in the last 2 or 3 years. Because the county I grew up in, you couldn't rifle hunt, it was illegal. Right. But now that I've got into it, like, this is the most accurate gun I've had, and it's been good to me so far. So but I do want to, like I said, put together a 30 caliber build for elk, because I don't think it's enough gun for me for elk. I don't think.
Yeah,
not enough.
I wouldn't shoot an elk with it, but anything under that, I think it's probably a great caliber for that.
Dude, my buddy took a 243 on our caribou hunt.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's, like I said, he's huge gun nerd, ex-Navy Special Warfare. He knows what he's doing. And we're shooting those copper mono bullets that really hold their weight, and so I don't know.
Nice. Yeah. I just got Henry a 243. He shot a 22-250. He shot his deer last year with a 22-250. So I bumped him up to a 243 and finally got a suppressor.
I've been wanting to get into that, but
it's just like from a recoil standpoint, like it's game changing. I should have done it a long time ago.
Really?
Yeah. Like, because I probably wouldn't have let him shoot the 243 without. He only weighs 60 pounds. He's lanky little 8-year-old, and he was doing fine with the 22-50. But Mossberg started threading all of their Patriots. That's the guns that I shoot.
Yeah.
And so I got a 243, the 6.5 Creedmoor's threaded, and then my 7 mag. Those are the only threaded ones that I have. So I let him run the gamut. I was like, okay. He loved shooting the 243, and I let him shoot the 6.5 with the suppressor. He's like, that one kicks a little, but it's cool because the thermal scope's on there. So he liked that. He's like, nice. I like because of the thermal. And then I let him shoot the 7 mag, and he hit the steel. But he looked at me. He's like, nope, I'm good on that one. No.
Yeah,
that's good, Dad. Thank you for that, but no thanks.
Yeah, it's a lot of gun.
Yeah. But
have you gotten into the reloading game yet, or
no,
not really?
Dude? No. Time is money, and I don't.
Yeah.
As much as I like to cook, I don't process my own stuff. Like, okay, everyone processes their own ducks and turkeys and everything, but like big game stuff, no. I have a relationship with a processor. They're doing all the sausage and everything else, and then the cuts that I want to work with, like heart and backstrap, 10-1, I do that.
Right.
But like grinding and everything, no, time's money.
Dude,
I
it's
don't
a
have
lot of
time to
work.
reload either. And I love the fact that people do it and are passionate
Yeah.
and good at it. But no, I don't have time. It's like shoot too many animals to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. My buddy, the one that I keep referencing that I went to Alaska with and stuff, we worked together on developing a load for my Creedmoor, and it's a great load. It's 124 grain hammer copper mono bullet, and but yeah, like he keeps trying to get me into it. I'm like, man, I'm with you, man. Like there's only so many things you can give full attention to, and that's a whole thing. And I just like, nah, I just can't.
Dude, there's not enough time in the day. And
No.
and before
With kids and
BLM
stuff, like if you're a
before
single dude,
COVID, like these
Yeah.
ammo companies would send me whatever I wanted. Now it's like I don't even really. I'll be honest. Like I feel bad asking
yeah,
now because they're selling everything so quickly. Like what's in it for them? They don't need to advertise.
right.
So it's like
You think the
now
ammo prices will ever come back down? You think they're up
No,
to stay?
no, they won't. They
Yeah.
won't come back down.
Dang it.
They'll
Yeah.
only go up,
Yeah.
and we'll continue to pay it. Everything's going up, but
That's true.
they're not,
Yeah.
the ammo companies once they've figured out that we'll pay it, they're like, they're not coming down.
Yeah, those Hornady whatever precision hunter bullets I've been shooting, they're like $50 a box.
Yeah, and they're good bullets.
They are.
Yeah.
But anyway, man, yeah, it's been great. It's been great catching up with you, dude. I enjoyed our conversation. Anything else you want to say, or where can people find you if they don't already know about Lone Star Outdoor Show?
Yeah, Hunter, thanks for the opportunity, man. Certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
They can go to LoneStarOutdoorShow.com. All the 600 some podcasts are saved there, and then you can follow my shadow band Instagram account at just at Lone Star Outdoor Show, and
Which is something I wanted to bring up, but we didn't quite get to.
Yeah.
But
there's always next time.
they're crooks.
Yeah, they are.
But
Yeah, but thanks for the opportunity, man. Certainly enjoyed visiting with you.
you too, man. It's been fun over the years following you, and so it's fun to finally, like I said, I feel like I know you just from social media and your show and stuff. So it's fun to finally get to talk to you one-on-one, man.
No, my pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Likewise. And good luck with your podcast.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can link up and meet sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, dude. Thanks again.
Thank you. Good luck
Talk
this
to you
season.
soon. All right, you too, buddy.